next up is Henrique De Castro. If you have seen some press about Henrique recently, this is the first public appearance of Henrique De Castro on stage, and I actually don't know if he's coming because it's his first appearance, and I know he doesn't want to talk about everything. So, Henrique De Castro, can you join me on stage? Oh, you came. Welcome, Henrique.
Should I kiss you?
You know, you want to kiss me? Sure.
No, thank you.
Please. So, Henrique, you were the CEO of Yahoo, right?
That's correct.
Working directly for Marissa.
That's correct.
And there's been some press around you.
Is there?
Not anymore.
That's good.
But so we talked recently, and I invited you to speak, and you said, but I've never given a public talk since I left Yahoo, right?
That's correct. Never talked about anything.
So what's happening now? So tell me about your career a little bit, like just before Yahoo, and what's happening now.
Well, yeah, I did my startup when I was young, and naive. Then I went to McKinsey, Dell, Google. I had a blast, and then I went to Yahoo. And
well, wait. Wait, because I know how this happened. What you don't say is that when Marissa became the CEO of Yahoo, some people surveyed the top advertisers in the world and asked them who should run the business, especially the advertising business, but like running Yahoo with Marissa, and your name came up. You were at Google, right?
Yeah, I think that would be normal, right? If Google, if you take a step back, Google has drove a lot of the advertising spend on digital. So it was normal that if you think about technology, the people that went to Dell were people that were at IBM or Digital Equipment Corporation. Then they went to IBM and then to Dell, and from Dell and you have these waves of technology, and a lot of the executives go from one to the other. And the same goes today at a lot of companies. A lot of them start with Yahoo, then went from Yahoo to Google. Google was a big driver of the advertising spend across the 2000, and then many of them went to Twitter, to Facebook. So there's these waves of new companies, and the new companies tap into the experience of people that have been have had that experience before. Remember, there was no one with digital experience before 1995. So if you are building a business in 2005 or 2010, you're going to look and say, who do I find people that have scaled a global business? There's not many of those, so you go and tap into the ones that have done so.
How long did you spend at Google?
Roughly 7 years.
Working with Nikesh?
Yes, I worked with Nikesh, and I worked with Hamid and all that team.
And so you built the Google business in 7 years from not much to something huge, right, with Nikesh and the team? Can you share a few? Because we were talking about that with Tim Berners-Lee this morning on how the web is this beautiful thing about sharing, and then you have also all those like huge multinationals being built and billion-dollar, tens of billions of dollars companies, hundreds of billions now. So you participated building that business side with the brands, the advertisers. Can you share a few tips on how to do that for the startups?
Well, that's I think there's a couple of things. One is these businesses grew without having the monetization or the revenue in their mind. They grew about getting the users on, and that's the biggest difference between most of the Valley and the rest of the world. The Valley, because of the ecosystem, the companies can get funding to grow really massively. So if you talk to Larry or talk to Mark Zuckerberg or others, their objective was not about making money, or their objective was to be millions and billions of people using their products. When you have those billions of people using their products, you find ways to monetize. And
so you think that's the right way to do it if you're a startup here you need to get scale first. You don't monetize early. If you look at Facebook, they did the same as Google. They waited for years before introducing advertising.
I think it's a question, quite frankly, and that's a very important thing, is if you start monetizing too early, you're probably going to constrain your business to adapt and evolve in the right direction. And if you constrain your business to evolve and adapt in the right direction because you have quarterly revenue, you may actually killing the growth. And that's an important aspect to do, because reality, if you look at most companies, where they are today is not where they started. Apple is a mobile company today, a mobile phone company, much more than is a PC company, but was completely a PC company. And if you think about Facebook, Google, all those companies evolved so much that if you start monetizing too early, you may, one, focus on your resources. You have very few resources, so you're going to spread too thin across different objectives. And secondly, your business is likely to shift and evolve, and you should start monetizing when that gets scale. And that's a thing that the bigger difference between the Valley and Europe is, and Asia, is that the companies very early go for monetization. And that monetization is going to castrate them on the growth phase.
Can you share what the most memorable moment you had at Google? Something a little crazy that happened to you, or something that you learned a lot on? Because 7 years there must be quite something.
Google was an amazing journey. We did a couple of things that I remember very well. One was looking at the traffic worldwide and realized that actually there was traffic around the world and we were not even monetizing, because we were not, so the most of the traffic was outside the US and we were not even monetizing. That's the power of the internet. So that's the first one, is when you have the right product, you don't control adoption. Adoption comes around the world, and that's okay. You need to have that as a great platform to validate your... The second thing is how other partners partner with you and teach you how to grow. So it's very interesting to understand in the internet space that partnerships, you compete and partner with the same client. So companies like any company in the internet, Google partners with Amazon, Amazon partners with Google, they compete in the same space, they serve clients. So there's all these joint objectives for a certain task may not be a joint objective overall, but that is a much more open ecosystem than you see in traditional industries.
So tell me about Yahoo. So what's your, because you left Google, an amazing job at Google, to become Marisa's number 2. And so what did you learn there? What did you see? It must be a challenge.
Well, I think there's two differences, two sides of that. There's a...
First off, were you fired or not?
What's that?
Were you fired?
I was fired. And that's okay. Fired is part of your career options.
Well, thank you for saying it. So, people don't share those things generally.
I think that's also a cultural thing. The US being fired and is a normal thing to do, and you have to do. And fire is not always a certification, or it can be for many different reasons. I think the most important thing on your previous question is Yahoo is an iconic brand, and I cannot talk on the behalf of Yahoo because I don't work for Yahoo at all. It's an iconic brand. It's a company that opened the web for the world in most cases. But what we see in technology is that the space evolves significantly. And what you have here is that search, mobile, video, communications, media are not what it is today, is not what it's going to be in the future. So the management team, Maurice, and the rest of the management team have done a great job positioning the company to capture those trends. If Yahoo gets on the right side of those trends, can really succeed enormously. And some of those are being different plays. Maybe different plays, maybe acquisitions, maybe in organic development. But you see, some people were considering Apple dead in 1998. And today, Apple is the most valuable company in the world. So why? Because Apple moved into ways that were transformative for the world, and they were on the right side on the technology. So what I think, and you could argue the same on Google, you could argue the same on a lot of companies. You think about Facebook doing a bet on Instagram first and WhatsApp later, are ways to get into the right side of the technology trend. So great brand, great management team, doing a tremendous job, moving towards where the trends are. Now the question is going to be able to capture those trends at the right time.
So, but why? So, but what happened? Like, why could you not keep going your role there? Why did they stop? You didn't need a CEO, or?
Well, I think it's that always in this turnaround, Yahoo has had a lack of investment for a while. In this turnaround, my learning is that it's difficult to have a COO job, because if you are in a company that needs a lot of very fast and very quick, hard movements, you probably don't need aggregation of functions under a CEO. So you actually want the CEO with the fingers in every part of the business. So I think with hindsight, I don't think a COO would be needed. I don't think there's a COO there either today. I think a COO tends to be an aggregation of functions that can leave the CEO focusing on some parts of the business. That's relatively easy when the business is growing dramatically. If the business is not growing, it's very difficult for someone saying, okay, is there a problem there? Can I check it, or can I trust you? So everybody tells me that a CEO on a non-growing business, a COO on a non-growing business is a difficult position.
So you got an avalanche of, I don't even know if that's English, of press, like a mountain of press coming at you. And how is, like, you got Kara Swisher investigating you, basically, right? And trying to find every single detail on why and how much. How much, by the way?
How much what? Calories?
Yeah. Well, you won't tell me, right? I don't know, I've seen numbers, like, anyway. So, it must be crazy, right?
No, I think there's the press is normal. If you get these jobs, someone told me once that I found that these jobs are jobs that pay well, and because there's a high risk, and then you have to pay that, you have to play that risk. If things can go well, things can go less well, and you just have to accept the dynamic.
Okay. So what's next for you? What's happening?
Well, I see a lot.
I won't talk about the 100 million I've read in the press, I promise. I won't. What's next for you?
I think there's a lot of... I'm working with a few startups that I'm passionate about.
So you're an angel?
No, I'm not an angel. I'm much more a devil than an angel myself. I think there's space. I'm not doing that on investing, because I think if you do investment, you need to do that on a full-time. Part-time investing is a recipe for failure. That being said, there's verticals that I find are going for disruption. Healthcare is being ready for disruption. There's fantastic companies on healthcare. If you think about 50% of the people that go to an emergency room actually are not in need of emergency care. They just go there because they don't know what to do. So you can think about healthcare being delivered over the phone, over video, over chat, and eliminating a lot the need of contact.
So you're also very excited with healthcare as being the top area of innovation in the next years.
Yes, I think healthcare is going to be massive. Companies like HealthTap, ZocDoc are really innovating a lot there. I think marketplaces, people were kind of killing the bricks and mortars and saying, oh, everything is going to be digital and Amazon is going to take the whole market. I think we are seeing a different trend where bricks and mortars are getting together with the internet, and people get the two of them, and that's a fantastic experience because I may not want things to deliver, I may want to experience them. So you see a trend of the e-commerce guys getting stores, and the stores guys getting the e-commerce, so that's a great trend. I see education. Education is the way we have to go to a classroom and have a professor teaching us is not a very modern way to learn, more collaborative learning, so there's a huge place like that. So I think that's an amazing space with a lot of innovation there.
Any startups in those fields that you've quoted that you like?
Definitely on the education, definitely Piazza. I think Piazza is really getting a lot of collaborative learning, and that's going to be transformative. And you have the guys like University of Phoenix, which are going digital. The traditional guys are going to digital, but then you have the disruptors. So I think what we have in each of these verticals is the traditional guys moving digital and the disruptors coming along. So that's and then you all talk about Lending Club is filed for an IPO.
Tomorrow. It's going public tomorrow.
So if you say tomorrow, it's probably you have some shares. That's good. I think finance and fintech is a big space there. So what I think the main takeaway I would say is the physical world and the digital world have been gone in parallel tracks for a while. For a while, all the world thought, and mainly the people around this room, including myself, thought, oh, the digital is going to take over the physical world, and the physical world is on a bad shape. And what we see today actually is that physical world is putting the internet and the digital space and is competing. So that happens in the retail space and everything that's services, but you could argue the media. 1998, you could have most media companies did not know how to do a site, right? Today, if we look at sites and apps from ESPN, Disney, TF1, those apps are pretty good. And so the traditional guys are knowing, both on retail and on media, start knowing how to do digital, and the digital guys are understanding that dynamic. So I think this is a massive difference from what we experienced before.
Okay, and so what's going next for you? You're looking for a job in a large company, or you're starting something, or are you just going to invest, or should we pitch you as startups in the room and ask you for $1 million or 50K, 20K?
All of the above. I have not decided, not on the 20, 50, or 100, but all of the above. I'm having a blast. It's very interesting because when you work on a company alone, you are a bit narrow-minded. You have to deliver, you have to wake up at 7 o'clock on Monday, do a revenue call, a deal review, meet the clients, hire people, assess people, and and all of a sudden you lose the perspective of what happens out there. When you free up yourself from the day-to-day management and you can go and meet people, BlaBlaCar, Deezer, a lot of people in companies in France, HealthTap, Zoc, all these companies, you get a blast of how much innovation is there, and that is, quite frankly, the most enriching experience for me, and I'm privileged to have access to most of those companies.
Startups here and online that watch this, they can contact you?
Of course, I'm not scalable, so I cannot do what I selected. I selected a few verticals that I mentioned.
How do we contact you? You have a Twitter, you have a Facebook, you have
No, they reach out. They reach out to you and you introduce me.
Sure, I will become your artificial intelligence assistant. No problem. You will be very intelligent.
I'm sure.
Well, Henrique, thanks so much for coming here. I know. By the way, Henrique has a lot of contractual requirements that doesn't let you speak too much. So I really appreciate that you took the exercise.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Henrique.
Take care.